and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking all things potty training. Potty training was a million times harder than I expected it to be, but actually it was only difficult for a couple of days of feeling fairly hopeless, and suddenly she just got it. So I thought I would share my hints and tips with you, having gone through it myself and looking back in retrospect and knowing exactly what worked, what didn't, and what I might do differently in the future. Number one that everyone will tell you is that you have to make sure your child is ready. If they aren't ready, then it's just not going to happen for you. It's just going to be extremely frustrating for both you and the child. So basic things to look out for are, can they respond to basic requests? Can they understand when you ask them to do something? Ask them to go and pick up a toy, bring it to you. Can they do that? Next, do they know and can they tell you when they are wet or dirty in their nappy? If you ask them when you know that they are, if they're able to tell you, then that's a good sign that they have understood the feeling of what it's like to be wet. If they've not, then it's probably not time quite yet for them to move on to the potty training stage. And finally, do they follow you to the bathroom? To be honest, most kids are into the bathroom with you at most times. So have they seen you go to the toilet? Do they show an interest of you going to the toilet? Do you explain to them when you go what you're doing? Do they show any kind of interest? All of these things indicate that your child might be ready. Now generally they don't recommend that you try potty training too much before the 2 years mark, but everyone knows their own child. Every child is different. We waited until over 2 years. I think she was about 2 years and 3 months when I started properly trying to potty train. And that seemed to be the right time for us. She was doing those kind of things. I felt that she understood what going to the toilet was all about. I felt that she understood what I was saying when I was explaining that I don't go in a nappy. All of these things, you have to know your own child and feel when they're ready and it's time to start trying. My next tip is to stay in and dedicate time. I had a weekend. I work Monday to Friday. I had a weekend where I told myself I was not leaving the house. We were staying in those whole 2 days to potty train, and then my husband was going to be off the Monday, Tuesday, so I knew that if things didn't quite work out over the weekend that there would be someone else to reinforce it Monday, Tuesday. And I do recommend that you do that because it's so hard when you're out and about. Otherwise it's going to be broken up. You're not going to be able to dedicate your 100% attention, and I would say that your child does need your attention in those days, because otherwise, if you leave the room to go and tidy up another room, you'll come back to an accident, and that's going to be frustrating for you, confusing to the child because they don't understand what they've done. To be fair, the child has been in nappies their whole life and they don't know anything different, so you need to be patient and you need to dedicate your time. So dedicate at least 2 to 4 days of staying in and potty training and nothing else. Number 3 is be prepared for lots of accidents, because like I said, your child knows nothing different from nappies, so it's only natural that it's going to take them some time and some getting used to. It's not going to happen as soon as you take their nappy off, so there will be accidents. So to deal with these and to make it as easy on both of you as possible, keep cleaning materials to hand, spare clothes nearby you at all times. If it is a warm day, if you're potty training in the summer, then perhaps leave trousers off and let your child just walk around in their pants, or even nothing. Or if it's a girl, maybe a dress or a skirt. I was potty training in the dead of winter in Scotland, so this was not an option for me. So I just kept lots of changes of clothes handy and just accepted the fact that I was going to be doing a lot of washing that weekend. Another tip that I would say is close the doors to any rooms that you don't want a mess in. So if you have a room that you've just cleaned and tidied and mopped the floors, just close the door to that room. Confine the mess to 1 or 2 rooms. I kept Elena really in the playroom and the living room and the bathroom, obviously, for going to the toilet, and that seemed to work for me. We only had accidents in those rooms and it just confined the mess a little. The next tip is about reward and praise. I would give your child so much praise just for sitting and being patient waiting on the potty. Toddlers are not patient. They don't understand patience and they don't understand why they're sitting on the potty unless you explain it to them. So praise just for sitting there and waiting, and then extra praise and reward when they actually do something. If they sit on the potty or the toilet until they actually pee or poo, it's time to do some praising and rewarding. And when it comes to rewarding, you need to know what works for your child. So Different children respond to different rewards in different ways. For me, Elena absolutely loves stickers, and that's what worked for us. And I have heard a lot of mums say that at that age, stickers are a huge motivational factor for their kids. I don't really know why, don't know what it is with stickers, but she really liked it. So I went on the potty stickers and she got one every time she went. But things like praise, treats, a special song to sing, a special game to play, know what works for your child and make sure that you're ready to reward them when they do exactly what you've asked them to do. Now, like I said, accidents are going to happen. So when they do happen, my advice is to deal with your child before dealing with the cleanup. So make sure your child is clean, explain to your child why that wasn't what you wanted them to do, and I'll come on to the best way to explain that in a minute, in my opinion. But deal with your child first and then deal with the cleaning. That might sound like easy, but actually when you see a mess on the floor, it's not that easy to ignore it. But I definitely think that dealing with your child and going through with them what you want them to do first will make everything easier all round. What I did is I asked Elena what had happened, asked her to explain to me what had happened, and she would say, got wet or pee my pants or whatever, and I would say, okay, what were you supposed to do, or what did mummy ask you to do? And she would say, pee and potty. I'd say, that's right, darling, and that's what we'll do next time. And be patient. Now that is easier said than done. It might sound really obvious, but after I think the 8th accident on day 1, I was losing my patience. I was also wondering whether I should have bothered starting in the first place. Don't lose your patience and don't give up. Those are my 2 top tips. It's so much harder than I thought it would be, but it's totally a couple of days and then it's done. For most children, getting angry or frustrated at accidents is really demotivating for them. So instead, what I did is I knelt down to Elena's height. I looked her in the face and said, don't worry, we all have accidents. Mummy is not angry. And I said, learning to use the potty is hard. I know that you're trying and I'm very, very proud of you. I know that you're a very clever girl, or boy, as the case may be, but I know you're a very, very clever girl, so I know you'll get it, and I know you're trying, and that's all I want. That really seemed to work for her. Getting angry, shouting, going, oh, Lena, not again, did not work. But sitting down and speaking to her, saying, I understand, you had an accident, it's okay, I'm not angry, we'll try again next time. That worked for her, that made her want to try, and it absolutely nailed it in the end. One thing to note, and I've also noticed this from speaking to other mums and dads, that for a lot of children, peeing in the potty or the toilet is a lot easier for them than pooing, and I don't know why, and I think it's something to do with the feeling of doing a poo and not having anything to catch it, so not having the nappy, not having the pressure. It's a little bit unusual for them, so sometimes pees come before poos, so be prepared for that. Know your child's cues. Know when your child is likely to pee. A lot of children will need to pee around 45 minutes to 1 hour after having a drink, so be prepared to take them, put them on the potty, on the toilet, or at least keep pestering them and asking them. For me, generally, Elena poos twice a day. Once kind of early afternoon, maybe like about 1 o'clock, and once in the evening, maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock around dinner time. So know your child's cues, get to understand when they go, and look out for those times and make sure that you're there and you're encouraging them to go to the potty at that time. Next tip is watch them really, really closely, and if they start wandering off, if they stand up and wander off to a corner or into another room, then be prepared that they just might be about to have an accident. Elena absolutely did this. She did not want to have an accident in front of me, and she wasn't quite ready to tell me she needed the toilet for some reason. So I think it was day 1 or day 2, she would actually just go up and leave the room, go into the other room, and then I knew it was coming. So watch out for that, and help them to recognise when they need the toilet. That is probably going to be one of the biggest challenges for your child, because like I said, they've been in nappies all their life. They've never had to respond to those cues that the body gives them that they need the toilet. When they do tell you that they need the toilet, make a big deal out of it, really praise them, explain how great it is that they managed to hold it in all the way to the potty and the toilet, and they'll be really, really proud of themselves, and as soon as you've got them proud of themselves, they'll want to do it again. Another big thing I would say is please don't shame your child. I have heard of mums saying that, oh, you know, making them really embarrassed about doing the toilet in their pants is the way forward. For me, that's probably not the best approach. Shaming your child can actually lead to your child being afraid of going to the toilet and trying to hold it in, which is obviously really, really not healthy and not good for their body. So I would definitely recommend that you don't do that. Instead, I would explain to your child that just like mummy and daddy, they're going to wear big girl or big boy pants. Nappies are uncomfortable, and she's a big girl or he's a big boy, and it's time to choose nice, pretty big girl knickers or nice Paw Patrol big boy pants, and you don't want to get them messy, you don't want to get them dirty, so we go to the toilet or on the potty. Next thing I would say is always keep a potty nearby to where they want to play, because kids, when they're distracted, when they're playing, they can be in a little world of their own and honestly not even realise those cues that they need the toilet until the very last minute. So be prepared, have a potty nearby, ready to whip right over it when they suddenly realise that they do need the toilet, because chances are they will leave it to the last minute when they're playing. Keep pestering them. And one thing I do is, like, I'm pregnant, so I go to the toilet all the time anyway. Every time I go to the toilet, I take Elaine along with me. Sometimes she'll be adamant she doesn't need, that's fine. But most times she will go to the toilet too, even if it's just a little bit. I think it's a good habit to get into. If you're going to the toilet, take them with you. Coming on to being dry at night, that is a lot more difficult, I think, for children, because obviously they're not consciously thinking about needing the toilet when they're sleeping. So I think that's a bit of a transition, and my advice would be, don't be worried about using pull-ups for a little while. After they're dry during the day, it might take them a little while to get dry at night. But when you're trying to transition into being dry at night as well, my advice would be to get into the habit of taking them to the toilet just before bedtime or just before story time. Basically, last thing at night before they go to bed, make sure they go to the toilet. And then also when they wake up in the morning, make sure it's the first thing that you do. Take them to the toilet. And after around a week of consistently dry pull-ups, I would sit down and explain to your child that you're taking off their pull-up, so they're not going to have a nappy at night, and therefore if they feel that they need the toilet, they have to call on you in the night because they'll get wet. And then I would just take the nappy off and see what happens. Obviously, I would recommend using waterproof sheets or something that goes under the sheet that catches any accidents, just to make cleanup a lot easier, and maybe have spare sheets to the side just in case. But yeah, it's a transition, and accidents are normal, especially in the night. And so accidents are normal, especially at night. It's going to take your child a little while to get used to it. But remember, this is all new to them and such a huge transition in their life. And once they get there, they will get there. But even if they have the odd accident, particularly when they go through big changes in their lives, like starting school, for example, it's normal for kids to have the odd relapse. So don't get angry at them. Don't get frustrated with them or with yourself, and just accept that it's part of life, and it will be something that they grow out of. Where do you go to the toilet?
On the potty.
On the potty? Are you a big girl? Yes. Do you wear nappies anymore?
No.
No, we don't wear nappies anymore, so we don't. You're a big girl. Okay, well that brings us to the end of this video. If you find it useful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.